The next ballot initiative for cannabis that will demand our attention over the next 5 months will be in the state of Florida. We now know who the other multi state operators who have joined Trulieve in their support of supporting the adult use ballot initiative. And here are some things you might not know. The medical market in that state is the largest in the country, with over 800,000 patients and $2 billion in sales. Well, now joining Trulieve's financial support of $40 million is Air Wellness, Cresco Labs, Curaleaf, Green Thumb Industries, INSA, and Verano, totaling $55 million. To give some perspective on the industry effort supporting smart and safe Florida, in California, when the adult use question was on the ballot in 2016, it was a $25 million of support. Well, in Ohio, it was just $7 million. Both measures passed, of course, but the Florida market will have to fight against the very powerful political machine led by their governor, Ron DeSantis. In Ohio, the opening of the adult use market might be happening sooner than expected. Attorney Harry Bernstein is our Ohio correspondent, and he brings us up to date on this.
This is Harry Bernstein with the Verde Compliance Partners and the Ohio Cannabis Report for Weed Talk News. With adult use cannabis now legalized in Ohio, the state is striving to grant its residents newfound independence and freedom by launching recreational sales as early as July 4th of this year. State officials have expressed optimism that the first adult use sales could begin by our nation's Independence Day, while regulators work to finalize the program's implementation. However, the path to cannabis independence is not without its challenges. Governor Mike DeWine is pushing lawmakers to enact strict new rules, such as limiting home grow, increasing taxes, and banning the sale of unregulated hemp-derived products. And the state legislature is still debating over key regulatory details that could impact both cannabis businesses and consumers. Despite these obstacles, industry experts remain cautiously optimistic about Ohio's future in the legal cannabis space. With a large population and an established medical cannabis program already in place, the state is poised for significant growth once the adult use market opens up. Businesses looking to capitalize on this opportunity will need to stay up to date on the latest policy changes and prepare to navigate the new licensing and compliance requirements. And for Ohio residents, the long-awaited day of cannabis freedom may soon arrive, just in time for our nation's celebration. That's the Ohio Cannabis Report for this week. I'm Harry Bernstein with Verde Compliance Partners, reporting for Weed Talk News.
With the news of an escalation of the hostilities in the Middle East, the Dow Jones stock market closed down by 475 points, or 1.2% of its total market value. So what impact did that have on cannabis stocks? Well, we know our man who is high on Wall Street, Doug Miller, and he will have a review heading into the new week. So here's Doug.
I'm Doug Miller from High on Wall Street with this week's cannabis stock report for Weed Talk News. Friday's market saw a downturn marked by concerns over inflation and escalating tensions in the Middle East. How will this impact cannabis stocks? I prefer to gauge what sectors will do by examining the ETFs. So let's look at the ETFs. MSOS Advisor Shares Pure US Cannabis ETF is trading around $8.92 and it is dipping. MJ Amplify Alternative Harvest ETF is trading around $3.81 and it is dipping. Weed WEED Round Hill Cannabis ETF is trading around $37.95 and it's dipping. YOLO YOLO Advisor Shares Pure Cannabis ETF is trading around $3.79 and it is dipping. And TOKE Cambria Cannabis ETF is trading around $6.04 and it's dipping. I noticed a striking similarity among all of these charts. They're all experiencing a dip due to the concerns over inflation and tensions in the Middle East, but they're also positioning for potential positivity in the coming months. It wouldn't be unexpected if we witness some form of federal legalization, especially as we near an election. This shift isn't driven solely by a sense of moral obligation, but rather political necessity. And that's this week's Cannabis Stock Report. Reporting for Weed Talk News, I'm Doug Miller.
In New York, the fallout from last week's legal opinion from Judge Frank Bryant continues. You might remember the judge sided with the legal licensees that the marketing regulations are absurd and that some of the decisions made by the Office of Cannabis Management are ridiculous. Christopher Smith is our New York correspondent, and he always has some observations from the licensee point. Here's his New York report.
This is Christopher Smith bringing you the New York report for Weed Talk News. A couple days have gone by since we've gotten back from the MJ Unpacked trade show down in Atlantic City this year at the Hard Rock Hotel. One thing that I noticed about the New Jersey dispensary owners, they are so frickin' normal. What a nice bunch of folks down there. Second thing that was really fantastic about the show, in addition to the parties that Jenny's helped sponsor, for example, was how much love and support Jenny got from people in the industry from around the country, from all the legal states that came to visit the show. People gave so much support to Jenny. They heard what she's going through. They've been following her in the news, and they're really considering her a leader in the industry. And it was just fantastic to see how much support that Jenny got. So that was wonderful. New York, we have a two-tier system. Now, in New York, what that means is we have two tiers of regulation. We have the Cannabis Control Board and we have the Office of Cannabis Management. And all the people in those offices seem to be needing extra chiropractic work this week after patting themselves on the back for granting lots of licenses this week. Now, mind you, that doesn't mean that businesses are open. It just means they've granted pieces of paper and hoping that those folks are able to survive long enough to actually get open. The governor is working through the budget. It's about 2 weeks late so far, and a couple of things that she's trying to pass have to do with the cannabis industry. One is that she is trying to get extra grants and loans passed for the farmers that have been creamed in the hemp market several years ago and then absolutely brutalized in cannabis. They're losing their farms. They're losing their family savings. People are losing their family savings in trying to open up dispensaries here in New York. It's an absolute bloodbath as far as I can tell. And the governor really needs to come through with this budget. Recently, we've heard that she is not getting the budget. She's not getting the support to get the farmers' money. So that is a huge disaster in my book. And we'll see what happens with another big issue that has to do with cannabis, which is the potency tax. Now, most markets don't really ever deal with the potency tax. They don't know what I'm talking about. So let me give you an example of how bad the potency tax is. The potency tax is charged on the potency of the THC in a product, and it's charged to the processor in the middle of the supply chain. So if I make a 1 gram vape, I have to pay $8 in potency tax. That means I have to charge the retailer $16 because I have to keystone it. The retailer has to turn around and double that again and charge the consumer $32. Illegal shops, and there are thousands of illegal shops in New York right now, do not have to pay the potency tax. And so their consumers are getting their products for $32 off. Just as a small example. So the potency tax is a total disaster, and the governor needs to get rid of it and protect our consumers and drive those illegal shops out of business and support legal businesses here in New York. So I'm Christopher Smith, giving you the New York report for Weed Talk News.
With many new legal states still working on opening their adult use market, Nevada continues to nurture one of the most popular destinations that is cannabis friendly. Social clubs are opening up in and around the Strip, and there's some excitement that Nevada may be the best model for other states who are still struggling to figure out how to do it. Here's Tina Tasaka with the latest in her Nevada Cannabis Report.
I'm Tina Tasaka with 420 Technologies, and this is the Nevada Report for Weed Talk News. The Nevada Supreme Court heard oral arguments this week in a case that could change cannabis's classification as a controlled substance. The Nevada Board of Pharmacy classification of cannabis as a Schedule I drug means it officially has no medical use. Back in 2022, Clark County District Judge Joe Hardy ruled that the state's designation was unconstitutional because Nevada voters legalized medicinal marijuana in 2000 before approving recreational marijuana in 2016. The American Civil Liberties Union of Nevada, which initially brought the case forward, also argues that the Pharmacy Board can't regulate marijuana because lawmakers gave that authority to the Cannabis Control Board. Even if Nevada reclassifies the drug, it will remain a Schedule I controlled substance under federal law. Deep Roots is selling the Reno dispensary for $3.5 million. C21 Investments, Incorporated, announced on March 15th that its wholly owned Nevada subsidiary, Silver State Relief, LLC, is purchasing the Deep Roots Harvest Dispensary in southern Reno. C21 Investments owns Silver State Relief and Silver State Cultivation in Nevada, and in Oregon, the brands Phantom Farms, Hood Oil, and Eco Firma Farms. The purchase price is $3.5 million, which consists of a cash payment of $100,000 as a deposit and the final cash payment of $3.4 million at the closing. Are the cannabis lounges in Las Vegas finally on a roll? 2 more lounges were approved at the March 21st Cannabis Compliance Board meeting. The Standard Lounge will be located near Allegiant Stadium and plans to have a rooftop lounge area for its guests. Music, comedy, immersive experiences will be the lounge vibe. They will also have VIP rooms and special events. The Shanghai Lounge has an Asian and old school theme. The lounge plans to find a space near Chinatown. The theme's purpose is to expose customers to art, and the lounge operator is bringing a concept called Canna Art. No opening dates have been provided at this time. In last week's report, I gave a roundup of all the 420 parties in the 702. If that is not quite your style, there'll be another kind of party that may be your vibe. Try out the 420 Divorce Party Package created by the one and only Maxine Fensum with the Las Vegas Cannabis Weddings. The divorce party experience is 2.5 hours of high vibes, including a guided dispensary visit. Now that sounds more like Sin City. And that's the 702. I'm Tina Tasaka with 420 Technologies for Weed Talk News.
Every Sunday live at 3 Eastern Time on the Cannabis Legalization News YouTube page, you will find our man in Illinois, Thomas Howard's live show with Miggy 420. This week, they celebrate their 1-year anniversary of launch, and we congratulate them on that. Way to go. Here's a segment of the show from Sunday.
That is our second story regarding Schumer and key House lawmakers. They're discussing merging the marijuana banking bill, the safe banking, with the cryptocurrency reform that's coming out of Politico and basically everywhere. And so House Financial Services Chair and Ranking Member, Representative Maxine Waters, they have met with Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer to talk about their stablecoin legislation. And they think that that is where they should maybe add safe banking, because if they're going to pass regulation on cryptocurrency, maybe we can get the banking regulation for cannabis taken care of as well.
Do you think, though, I mean, this safe banking should be a no-brainer, right? Like, it should be like the next step towards the rescheduling of what's going to be coming next, right? The overall infrastructure. This will help give you that ability to get loans or file it, what was it, 280E, right? These are all financial fiduciary things that you have to do if you're running a real business, right? Like, I think about, dude, how we're going through this process. We are licensed owners, right? We
are waiting for a license that we purportedly won, and so we did not get that email last week. If you're watching this and you're in Chicago and you did, awesome. Don't forget to give your information to the state of Illinois by Wednesday, April 17th. But I hope that we are in wave number 2, the downstate wave. We will find out.
And finally, as we mentioned at the top of the show, this is the week of 420. We mentioned it in the middle too. Okay, many in the industry still consider this day, April 20th, to be a real high holy day, or at least an unofficial holiday. Well, this year it lands on a Saturday, and many are predicting record sales. Of course, that depends on the stage of development of the market in your state. Is it the first one, or is it just another day like it is in more mature markets? Well, this is the first time since the pandemic that April 20th is on a Saturday. And since the busiest day of the week in cannabis is Fridays, retailers are eyeing 3 days of increased sales. The trick in retail is to run promotional events that are geared to drive traffic, right? Not limit profit margins, which are already tight. And there are 2 units of measurement: average order value and average order profit. Well, both have declined since their high in 2021. Last year, customer and transactions were up, but those average units declined by $10 since 2021. And the average over profit declined by $4.25 or 14.25%. But one thing you can almost certainly count on, no matter where you shop or in what state, you will be getting some discounts. Last year, that discount was just over 32%, and this year, economists are predicting greater discounts this year than last. So, I mean, I just picked up a $2 joint today, so I think they're already celebrating. Remember, it's a whole new world of weed out there. Use it responsibly. That's Weed Talk News for this week. I'm Alaina Pinto. Have a safe and smart holiday. We'll see you next time.
And what we want to do is we want to help birth some new entrepreneurs, because you need capital to be able to do that. You know, we feel like the social equity licenses are a first start, but if you don't give that person cash or credit or money, it's like giving someone a Ferrari with no gas in it. You can't get any place.